Hi everyone, my name is Oseni Abiodun Ramon. I'm here to discuss about the US domestic and foreign policy in this dispensation. A lot of friends, students, commentator, they asked me to discuss or to comment on what is going on with the current United States domestic and foreign policy. So here is my take, and here is my answer or response to those set of friends or scholars that ask me to comment or they seek for my opinion on the discussion of United States domestic and foreign policy, especially in this dispensation. My take is that there is nothing serious wrong with the United States foreign policy or domestic policy. What is happening now is that the United States is adjusting to the current international order, to the current global order. What do I mean by that? The current global order is multipolar. Multipolar in the sense that it's being led by the United States itself, China, and Russia. And other middle and smaller countries, they align with this power in order to achieve their domestic or their foreign policy. First, it is important to discuss what is multipolarity. Multipolarity is the distribution of power in which more than two states have similar amount of power. What do I mean by this? More than two states have similar amount of power. This does not mean that China has the same power that is equal to that of United States or to that of Russia, but they have equal, similar amount of power. So the international system is no more unipolar. Yes, in order to backtrack a little bit or to give a little historical context about, you know, the other world order before this current multipolar. The United Nations was formed in 1945. As soon, immediately as United Nations was formed in 1945, the world order became bipolar. Bipolarism, that is a situation or a kind of distribution of power in which two states have similar amount of power. The then two states was the United States and the USSR. So the USSR and the United States. So I'm not going to talk about the policy of the USSR, but I'm going to focus on the policy of the United States because the question is about what is happening to the current domestic policy and international policy of the United States. So within that period of 1945 to 1989, when the Soviet Union collapsed and the current Russia was a big component of that USSR formation. The United States foreign policy and domestic policy was different because it adjusted to the bipolar world. Then we can see how the United States was trying to contain the policy of the USSR, which is the communist ideologies. Then we call it Cold War because the two major power could not confront each other because it is an era of nuclear power and we don't want that. Nobody want that. So by so doing, they confronted each other in many fronts by using what is called the proxy war. We saw that in a lot of area in Africa. We saw that in Asia, we saw that in Latin America, and every part of the world, even Europe. So the United States policy aligned with bipolar world. Then in 1989, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, then the United States policy adjusted to that of unipolar world. Unipolar world in which US remained the sole superpower that control or that rule the global order or the global affair. So although then a lot of scholars, people criticize the activities of the United States of America because some look at it from the lens of negative, some look at it from the lens of positive, while some mix the two together. But I'm going to use one example to illustrate. Those that look at the United States foreign policy in the unipolar world, let me use the example of Iraq, for instance. In 1990, when Iraq, under Saddam Hussein, decided to invade Kuwait, the United States led the coalition of many countries in the world to restore global order. And the Iraq government that invaded a sovereign state, which is Kuwait, in 1990, after 7 months, were able to kick back to Iraq. That was led by United States and other coalitions, other countries that United States put together to restore global order. That was a plus to a lot of people. On the other hand, in the same manner, Iraq in 2003, after the September 11 terrorist attack of World Trade Center on the soil of the United States, the United States decided to invade Iraq with the options or with the kind of assertion or with the kind of allegations, depends on what you think it is, that Saddam Hussein possessed the weapon of mass destruction. But after the invasion, it was discovered that there wasn't any weapon of mass destruction in Iraq. So the premises was false. Some scholars refer to this as a kind of a foreign policy failure in the United States foreign policy. So although I saw that as the turning point or a kind of period that started multipolarism, because a lot of smaller states thought about they need other big power to align with. So although the movement has been coming with the development of China within those before that era, but I'm going to choose August 18, 2010 as the last straw that marked the end of unipolarity. Why? The August 18, 2010 was the last day or the last US combat troops withdrew from Iraq 2 weeks ahead of schedule. So that opened a lot of questions about US foreign policy. And some of those countries, especially in Africa and Asia, Middle East, decided to align with China, while that gave Russia a little room too to maneuver within the international systems. So the United States, during the era of unipolar, can be looked at from the positive, negative, or mixed, depends on the lens or where you are sitting to lens the US foreign policy and domestic policy. But the multipolar system that we are in right now is a system that, the middle, like I said, the middle countries and the smaller powers, they are aligning with the countries that they felt, their policy, they are going to benefit more, or they can benefit, or they can, have a kind of a diplomatic or economic relations with. So the United States need to adjust its policy from unipolar to multipolar world. So which is the current. Although I understand that, The adjustment is affecting the United Nations itself. It's affecting a lot of countries, most especially the Western ally, that they are very close ties with the United States. They have very close ties with the United States. But it will be rational for the United States to adjust to the current multipolar world instead of trying to implement policies that is meant for unipolar world in multipolar world. So I think this is what is going on that makes people to feel what is going on with the policy of the United States, the domestic and foreign policy. It is because the current global order is multipolar. So the United States cannot continue to be operating in a unipolar policy in a multipolar world. Just as the same things, United States could not, I repeat, could not formulate or operate unipolar policy in bipolar world. So this is multipolar world. The United States of America is changing its policy from unipolar to multipolar, which is effect of what is going on with the tariff, with the trying to cut down. So I think it's part of the whole system of adjustment.